Hey, surprise! It's another slasher film. Sure you weren't expecting me to do another one of those? Well, I am, and we're going back to Friday the 13th, as today we're looking at Friday the 13th Part 3, released in 1982. And despite this being the third Friday the 13th film, this was actually the first Friday the 13th film to actually be released on Friday the 13th. Returning to direct this film was Steve Miner, who also directed Part 2. And we get a whole new cast in this movie, including Dana Kimmel, Paul Cratchit, Tracy Savage, Jeffrey Rogers, Catherine Parks, Larry Zerner, David Catmans, and Rachel Howard. We even get a new Jason, as in this movie he's portrayed by Richard Brooker. So what happens in this one? Well, I mean, do you really need me to tell you? Well, I guess you do. Alright, well, some teens go down to Camp Crystal Lake, and they get killed by Jason. Bet you didn't see that coming. Originally though, the film was going to be more closely connected to Part 2. If you remember, the final girl in Part 2 was Jenny Field, and it was supposed to center around her learning self-defense and dealing with her post-traumatic stress and going back to college, and then she would find her boyfriend dead, and then she'd hunt down Jason and face him in a final confrontation, but then the actress Amy Steele said, "No, I'm not interested," so they threw it out the fucking window. Regardless of that though, this was intended to be a trilogy to conclude the Jason Voorhees story, which as we all know now, it was not. Not even close. The film got negative reviews from critics, because as we've established, critics hate slasher movies, but on a budget of $2.2 million, it did pretty good at the box office, making back $36.7. And while that was still way down from the $60 million the first film made, it was way up from the $21 million that Part 2 made. It even had the #1 box office spot from the time, and became the first film to knock E.T. the Extraterrestrial out of that spot. It would not end up being the highest grossing horror film of 1982, however, as it was beaten out by Poltergeist. Oh, and also, this film was released theatrically in 3D, which unfortunately results in a lot of really stupid 3D effects scenes throughout the film. But 3D or no 3D, was anybody able to escape Jason in this one? Well, we're gonna find out right now as we look at Friday the 13th Part 3. So we kick off by recapping the near-end events of the last movie where Jenny Field dressed up as Jason's mother and then stabbed him in the neck with a knife. Jason obviously survived though and made his way to a lakefront store, owned by Harold and his wife Edna. So you might be wondering, did Jason A, befriend the store owners and build some new long-lasting relationships, or B, murder them brutally? Well, you might be shocked to learn that the answer is B. Anyway, new main character time, Chris Higgins, who is heading out into her cabin on Camp Crystal Lake, because of course it is, with her friends. And her friends are Andy, his pregnant girlfriend Debbie, prankster Shelly, their other friend Vera, and two stoners named Chuck and Chili. Who the fuck names their kid Chili? While driving, they stop to help an old man who was lying in the middle of the road, and he shows them his creepy eyeball, and they run away, and he's like, "You should turn back!" But obviously they don't, because if they did, we wouldn't have a movie. They all arrive at the house, and we also meet Chris's boyfriend Rick, who she's recently become distant with. And while Chris is showing Debbie her room, she sees someone entering her barn, who I'm sure is definitely not Jason. Chris also seems to be vaguely alluding to some sort of traumatic event that happened the last time she was at this house, but she doesn't yet elaborate on what it was. Meanwhile, Shelly and Vera go to a store to get some things, where they're harassed by some douchebag bikers. In retaliation, Shelly knocks down their bikes, and one of the bikers swears revenge on you damn kids. The biker also smashed up the car they were in, which turns out was Rick's, and he's kinda pissed, so him and Chris drive off somewhere, while totally not Jason watches from the barn. Also, you can see the camera crew in the reflection of the car's window. The bikers then show up and begin siphoning gas out of their van, which they're gonna use to burn down their barn. The female biker then goes into the barn and starts touching everything like a 4-year-old child. This is a really fucking weird scene. In continuation with her 4-year-old antics, she starts swinging on a rope until she suddenly disappears. One of the other bikers enters the barn to see where she went, and she's dead, and now so is he. The head biker then goes in the barn to look for them, where he's attacked and seemingly killed by Jason. Meanwhile, Chris and Rick are out somewhere on the lake, and Chris decides to finally tell Rick her traumatic backstory. So 2 years ago at this very house, she had a fight with her parents and her mom struck her. She then ran out into the woods and fell asleep. She was then attacked by some hideously disfigured man before blacking out and waking up in her own bed, and her parents have never talked about it since. They then go to leave, but the battery in Rick's car is dead, so they have to walk back. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, Vera is sitting by the lake before somebody rises up and grabs her. Hey, that's a reference. And then a dude in a hockey mask pops up, but it's just Shelly pulling a prank, which naturally she doesn't think is very funny, so he gets butthurt and runs away like a little bitch baby. He then hears a noise coming from the barn and goes in to investigate. Meanwhile, Vera still has Shelly's wallet for some reason and accidentally drops it in the river before going in to retrieve it. As she's doing so, some dude in a hockey mask who she thinks is Shelly comes out of the barn, but oh god, that's not Shelly, that's Jason donning the hockey mask for the first time, and he shoots her for the eye with a fucking spear gun. Meanwhile, we go back to Debbie and Andy, and Debbie's taking a shower while Andy is walking on his hands for some reason. In what is probably the best kill of the movie, while he's doing that, Jason comes up behind and slashes right through him. Debbie then starts reading a magazine about Godzilla until some blood drips on her, and oh hey, there's Andy, and hey, there's Jason, giving her the old Kevin Bacon kill. Meanwhile, downstairs, the stoners are making popcorn until a fuse blows, so Chuck goes to check it out. In what is probably the coolest scene of the movie, Chuck turns the fuse box back on, and there's Jason right behind him, and then throws him right into it, killing him. Meanwhile, Shelly stumbles in with his throat slit, but because he's a prankster, Chili thinks, oh, it's just a prank, bro. She then realizes, oh, it isn't though, bro, and she goes to try to get Andy and Debbie, who she also finds dead. She then finds Jason, who impales her through the stomach with a fire poker, and just like that, Jason's killed all but 2 people. He's really efficient in this movie. Rick and Chris then finally show up to find that everyone is gone. Rick goes to look outside, and then Chris comes out and calls after him, but he's already been captured by Jason. Jason then crushes Rick's skull, which could have been the greatest kill of this movie, but because they went for stupid 3D effects, it looked like this. Chris then finds some blood in the bathtub and then runs outside, and oh, there's a biker came down on her. Look, another callback from the first movie. There's another one. She then goes inside and locks the house up and gets hit with another callback as Rick's body gets thrown through the window, and then here I come, I am Cinnamon. Chris runs upstairs away from Jason and dumps some books on him, which I imagine hurts him in more ways than one, as he probably doesn't know how to read. Chris unlocks herself in a closet where she finds Debbie's body, and then she screams, and here comes fucking Jason! And while Jason has been efficient in this movie, it's also caused him to be a little bit sloppy. He left that knife in Debbie's neck, which Chris uses to stab him in the knee. Chris then escapes out the window, and as Jason comes out for the front door, she hides and clonks him in the back of the head with some wood. She then gets in the van and drives off, almost running over Jason in the process, and that's it, she's home free, but remember the bikers siphoned the gas earlier? And yeah, she's out of gas and stuck on a bridge, and oh hey, there's Jason, choking her to death. She stops him by rolling up the window, she's really fucking smart, and then runs away again. She goes back in the barn and climbs up on a balcony to hide, while Jason throws a hissy fit because he can't find her. Chris then, because she's awesome, does some Jeff Hardy dive shit onto him. She almost gets killed for her trouble, but Jason gets his knife stuck in the door, which allows her a chance to get back upstairs. She then hides with a shovel, and when Jason comes up, she knocks him unconscious with it. God damn, Chris is whooping his ass. And she's not done, as she ties a noose around his neck and then drops him off, seemingly killing him. God damn, Chris. Seriously, like, she's great. This is Jamie Lee Curtis levels of ass kicking. And you did it, he's dead. Oh no, he's not. He's actively getting the noose off, and then he takes the mask off in an effort to do so, and she realizes that he's the same disfigured weirdo who attacked her 2 years prior. Because, duh. Jason's prepared to kill her, but hey, that biker from earlier is not dead. Oh, well, no, okay, now he's dead. Luckily, Jason is really pissed this guy was still alive, and he's just slicing him multiple times, which gives Chris an opportunity to get the axe back and chop Jason in the fucking head. But surprise, surprise, that still didn't kill Jason, and he's doing a Frankenstein walk until he finally collapses, and now he's dead, I guess. Chris then leaves the barn and finds a conveniently placed canoe, and then goes out into the lake with it. Hey, another callback time, yay! Chris then wakes up on the lake, and then she sees Jason maskless in the house, and he starts running at her until he disappears, and here's Pamela out of the water in a callback, and then it turns out it's just a nightmare. And the sheriffs are here, and they lead Chris away from the house while she laughs maniacally, seemingly driven insane by the events of the previous day. We then end the movie by seeing that Jason is still dead on the floor in the barn, because again, this was supposed to be it, except as we all know, it fucking wasn't. Alright, well, time to pull up our Friday the 13th big board and see where we rank this. Alright, so positives and negatives. Positives was Chris. really liked Chris. Like, she was awesome. She was whooping that ass. She was, to be honest though, and this is a weird complaint, but she was maybe whooping that ass a little too much, because it's not like Jason wasn't on his game in this movie. He was tearing through people. He was really efficient. He killed like 5 or 6 people in like a fucking 5-minute span. But then, as soon as he met her, well, she was just whooping that ass. The negatives. Well, first of all, you know the 3D effects I've established throughout the film I didn't like. It actively hurt the movie, in my opinion, just because they sold out for 3D, because, you know, it's the 80s and 3D was a big thing at the time, until we all learned that it was stupid, and 3D is stupid, in my opinion. But this movie really, really, really sold out for 3D, and there was just so many dumb 3D shots that that kill on Rick again could have been awesome. You're crushing the dude's skull, but then not only is it obviously a fake head, but a little boing fucking eye thing that you did for the 3D effects, and it was just dumb. None of the characters you really cared about either, besides Chris. Like, they tried to establish Shelly, but he was just more annoying than anything and came off like a little bitch. And again, there was just so many callbacks, like an absurd amount of callbacks. It's almost like they ran out of ideas for this and are like, screw it, let's just throw in some things from the first couple movies. And the first time it's like, oh hey, there's that again, but by the 5th or 6th time it's like, oh hey, there's another callback. So I think I'm gonna put this last. Honestly, loved Chris, but other than that, I can't really justify putting this over the previous 2 movies. So the movies continue in release order for my list. Number 1, Friday the 13th. Number 2, Friday the 13th Part 2. Number 3, Friday the 13th Part 3. So when did the next sequel come out? Well, it came out 2 years later in 1984 and was called Friday the 13th The Final Chapter. And guess what? It was not the fucking final chapter. It was, however, very good, so enjoy it when we do it next time. I don't know when next time will be, because following it, there's still a couple good movies, but this is when the franchise starts to rapidly go downhill, because after 4, they're just making sequels just to make them, and then we get crazy shit like Jason Takes Manhattan, which we'll get to eventually, and Jason X, which I actually like, but it's literally Jason Goes to Space. And yeah, you just enjoy the next one when we do it, because after that, oh boy. So would I recommend this film? I guess. I mean, if you're really into slasher movies, sure. It's not like a quintessential slasher film. It does have, the one thing that I can say about this movie is that it has one of the most iconic moments, you know, in the history of slashers. It's Jason with the mask on for the first time, you know. That's a huge moment. Nobody knew it was a huge moment at the time, but, you know, in retrospect, it's become a huge moment because it's an icon of not just the horror genre, not the slasher genre, it's become an icon of American cinema. So that was a huge moment. So if you want to see that and be like, oh, it's the first time I put the mask on, yeah. But I mean, again, aside from Chris whooping that ass, I can't really say much about this movie, but I guess it's fine, you know, it's just fine. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for Friday the 13th Part 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you everybody for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they're all in the video description down below. Thank you to all my patrons, also named in the video description, for supporting me and my channels. I appreciate you guys. With all that being said though, my name is Noah Taff. This has been my Friday the 13th look back at Friday the 13th Part 3, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.